Hi, good morning, everybody. So I think we can start probably a little introduction about what is GHRC before we start. Okay. So Global HR Community, GHRC, is a community for people managers that is built on AI platform and brings together people managers, business leaders, HR professionals, entrepreneurs, and students to promote excellence through people in individuals, organizations, and society at a large, through our guiding principles of connect, learn, and grow. So the GHRC, as it is popularly called, has been founded by S.V. Nathan, ex-CHRO Deloitte India, Shrikant Arimanithaya, ex-CHRO Global Head of EY Delivery, Ramesh Ranjan, ex-CHRO of Schneider Electric India. In a short span of 8 months, we have subscribed to around 1,750 members enlisted, along with Britannia, Machani Group, Quest Corp, TE Connectivity, Natural Remedies, iValue, Carillon, and Higher Gains as our corporate members. Honored with India's 5,000 Top MSME Award, GHRC has cemented its position as a leader in HR space. Ranked among the top 10 HR communities in the world in LinkedIn, we are proud to have a thriving community of 6,000 plus followers on the LinkedIn, reflecting our global impact and influence. The platform is also built under the guiding principles of discover, connect, learn, grow, and contribute. So discover, explore 50 plus self-assessment tools and cutting-edge insights to uncover your potential and thrive in people management and leadership. Connect to join a global network of 1,750 professionals to build meaningful relationships, access mentorship, and collaborate on impactful initiatives. Learn, upskill with 150,000 courses with GHRC's 25 own curated courses as well, training in 1,800 plus skills, and access to vast library of resources for lifelong learning and career progression. Grow, accelerate your growth with your job board, gamification features, analytics, and opportunities to participate in inclusive events and workshops. Contribute, shape the future by shaping expertise, mentoring, and engaging community-driven activities that drive positive impact and innovation. So this is about GHRC. So we offer a lot of a variety of annual membership that can be customized to your profile. And we will be very glad to assist you for the enrollment as a member of GHRC, as well as you see the value in our offerings. So now for the next section, we will move on to networking. And what we will request from you is, please do take each of you 1 minute of your time to talk about yourself, to tell us what you do. But we are pressed with time. Do not take more than 1 minute. Please let us know. And also on the chat, you can drop your name, email ID, the company, and what you do. That as well will help us, because this will help you to connect with other people as well as the others to connect with you. So please go on. Y'all can start. We could start with Ruby itself, if that is okay. You can unmute your audio. You can unmute your video as well. Do come online and you can talk about yourself. 1 minute. Should I call out the names then? Kirana says, I'm working in some other organization.
I'd like to hear you, Kirana. Or
Hi,
see you.
Anand. Good morning.
Hi,
Yes,
very
yes.
good morning. Very good morning, everyone. Sorry, I have some issues with my video settings. It kind of gets
No
turned
problem.
into bluish color, so I'll not switch it on.
No problem.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to meet you all. It's been some time that we all have come together. My name is Anand. Just a quick intro from my side. I work for this company called EY GDS, and I'm into the finance reporting vertical, dealing with US GAAP, IFRS, Solvency II related financial reporting for multiple geographies across the globe. And I'm excited to be a part of this mental health well-being session. Looking forward to it. That's about it from my side, Subha.
Great, great. Ruby says her dogs are barking. So Ruby, you can drop the details on the chat box. please do drop it. And we can probably move ahead with Preeti. Hi, Preeti.
Hello, good morning, everyone. And I'm Preeti Gandhi from Mumbai. Been an ex-advertising person for 21 years. And today I devote all my time, money, and energy uh, towards the science of handwriting, graphology. So I'm the force behind Soul Writing. I'm the founder of Soul Writing, where through handwriting I transform lives. And my mission is to awaken the subconscious mind to be able to live a full life. And I work mostly with women and in corporate sector. So that's about me. Thank you, Prada, and thanks, Akshara, for inviting in this session. Thank you.
Lovely, Ruby. Lovely, Preeti. Thanks a lot. That's wonderful that you're doing writing to transform lives. Yeah, nice. Deepak Belwal, we have Divya, we have Gargi Das Gupta. One of y'all do come ahead, talk about yourself.
Hey, good morning. Sorry, Gargi here. I mean, there's some problem in the thing, so I think I'm audible.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm Gargi. I'm a co-founder of a startup here in Bangalore called Stocast. So at Stocast, we operate in the intersection of human and HR technology. So I head the well-being vertical of Stocast. So here we basically we are aiming to provide, well-being as a holistic and integrated solutions. And also we are incorporating a lot of art intervention as a modality for healing and well-being. So we generally we believe in that no organization is small, big, or large for opting wellness. So we are organization number agnostics, and we are actually looking for providing well-being as a lifestyle, as a habit, not as a calendar activity that, okay, I have done this. So this is, we believe we are a passionate group of people who actually believe well-being in everyday practice. So that's our objective, to figure it out how it could be a part of life and as a practice for your daily life. So yeah, that's where we are.
That's lovely. Nice to know you. And I see a lot of people from wellness, on the mental health today.
And thank you, Akshara, for inviting it. So thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Deepak. I guess you're ready.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. I'm tuning in from Gujarat, so happy to be here. I'm a consultant by profession. I have around 17 plus years of experience working with one of the top Indian conglomerates and top three largest IT companies in the world. So I am here to learn about how to take care of your mental health. I've seen my life going through ups and downs, and I'm so happy to share that yesterday I completed my 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So I'm building up my spiritual quotient, and at the same time, I'm into learning all about how to be mentally happy. And I'm so happy to see Akshara because I heard him in one of our sessions, which happened internally. So I was pulled out by force to listen to him. So thank you so much for setting up this session.
Lovely. Thanks, Deepak.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to Deepa, Divya, Kirana, Kumuda. Kumuda, you must come over and talk. Neha. I'm like roll call, calling out everybody's name in the
Hey,
morning.
Shubha.
Hi, Neha.
I'm actually again keep traveling, so I can't talk.
Oh,
So
Deepa. Okay. Yeah.
I'm
Hi,
just
Deepa. Of course.
yeah,
No
hi,
problem.
yeah. Okay.
Good
Sure,
morning,
sure.
Prada. This is Neha here
Hi, Neha.
from
Yeah.
Mumbai.
Yes.
Almost 2 decades of experience, a combination of customer service and HR.
Okay.
I work with an event management company. Yes, I'm looking forward for this session because everybody is going in the same rut of mental and all physical
Yes.
stress.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Nice, Neha. Thanks for joining. Do drop in, all of you, please drop in your details as well on the chat box with your name, email ID so that people can contact you and you can contact others. Deepa, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, all.
Yes, good morning to
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiba. So, guys, I've been in the IT industry and in the HR, IT and non-IT space in the HR domain for almost 27 years now. And I've been an entrepreneur for almost a decade. And I've been working with a lot of startup companies to provide HR services support. And along with that, I'm also a lay counselor with NIMHANS. And I do a little bit of social service activities. I would say 50% of my life is into social service. Another 50% is into professional life. So, and of course, I started my journey of being an entrepreneur in 2011. And
Yes,
I think that's all from my end. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to speak.
lovely,
I'm not a
lovely.
storyteller, so I'm sorry for that. So I
We
need to
all know
learn.
about your giving nature and the help that you render everybody, and
Yes.
thanks for the help that you've given to GHRC as well.
I
And
would prefer, I would
such a
love to do
committed
more and more.
committee member she is.
I would love to
Sorry?
do more and more,
Yes.
but the time is not permitting me. So I wish I could get the good time to support you guys completely. Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much.
absolutely.
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful time. Yeah.
Thank you,
Looking
Divya.
forward. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hi, Divya.
Hi, Prada, and good morning to all of you. A little introduction about me to start off with is I have been in HR for 7 years of my life so far, and I'm an ex Samsunger. I quit this path, this career line about a year ago, and I switched my career to therapy. So I have been interested all like pretty much like the last few years of my life has been dedicated towards mental health in some or the other way. Very small contributions though, and I found myself drawn to this a lot. So with after a lot of exploration, I found this course in Tata Institute, which was called Diploma for Dance and Movement Therapy, which instantly caught my attention and I took it forward. So I just recently graduated and I have been practicing a couple of sessions here and there and trying to support in whatever small ways possible. So this platform opens up a lot of opportunities to me also to learn and explore, while it also gives me an opportunity to contribute in whatever way possible. So I'm looking forward to bringing a balance of both and understanding and learning and as well as contributing to this space. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you, Divya. Thank you. Drop in your details on the chat box. Hi, Kumuda. Good morning.
Hey, hi, Prada. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Great to see such a lovely introductions from all of you and know your expertise. My colleague Gargi has already introduced Tocas, so I'll just take few minutes. So, like Gargi said, like we are a full stack
Oh,
people solutions company for startups, SMBs. We believe that people, culture, and the technology can create a great human experience. While Gargi hits the well-being side of it, I'm kind of jugaad of all the three verticals. I support my another colleague in building the HR tech, and I am also into a full stack HR. So I help startups in everything that they do with respect to people. So that's about
okay.
it. Yeah, thank you.
Nice, nice. Super. Drop in your details, do to
And guys,
Kumuda.
me and Gargi are also participating in the contest that GHRC is,
Oh,
doing it. So
very
please
good.
go ahead, watch us, like us. Thank you so
You
much.
you posted all your videos and all that, no? You've given your
Yeah, yeah,
videos?
yeah. Me and
Oh, great, great.
Gargi are. That's the reason why we are bringing art modality as one of the healing,
Mm.
uh,
Ah,
aspect that we are
yeah.
building in the
Ah.
programs. Thank you.
Nice, nice. All the best to you, and we hope you get more and more likes. So we'll
Thank you.
see.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
Hi, Unnati. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Subha. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Unnati Vashishta, and I'm a customer experience expert. I help brands in enhancing customer experience for their brands, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Sorry. So the reason why I've known Akshara for quite a few months now, I must say, but the reason why I joined and the outcome, what I'm looking at is a lot of times the teams, especially or hand-holding customers who are in the front line, they come back to me saying that it's so stressful and they don't know how to kind of, and they take it so personally that it starts impacting them. And I'm not exaggerating, but they have customers in their dreams. So that has happened even with me also, right? But we should kind of take a balance here and see, how we kind of bring that barrier in between, that boundary line. And I'm sure I'm looking forward for the workshop today, which will also help me in coaching them to, this is
Yeah.
how you kind of take care. So thank you so much. And I'm super glad that I'm able to finally join in the session today.
Getting work in the dreams has become a normal feature for, I think, almost everybody. Let's find out from Akshara how bad or how good it is for us today.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thank
Vinay.
you.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Anati. Hi, Vinay. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Prada. Thanks for organizing this workshop and thanks to Akshara for the invite. I've known Akshara for a few months now and I just love what he has to say about mental health and all the initiative he takes. So from my side, I am involved in, I'm a student, I'm a PhD student at the University of Zurich and I've formed a student club here where we promote mental well-being of students, and we do this through yoga, pranayama, meditation, positive psychology, and things like this. So I got interested into mental health space through my own struggles, and now I'm trying to do my bit for my fellow students at the university.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Thanks a lot, Vinay.
Thank you.
Nice knowing you. Who's next? Who do we have next? Nagraj, Neha, Anvita. Come on, guys, we're waiting for you. We have 5 more minutes and we start off the session. Mr. Viraya.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Kirana.
Hi, Kiran.
Thank you, Akshara, because today is it's very nice to meet you all through this only. So I'm working in Samvada since 20 years back, 20 years, and actually I'm a trainer. Trainer calls means rural youth empowerment through the livelihoods. It's a program. So I'm actually a trainer, but nowadays I shifted it to mental health practitioner course. So I'm doing mental health paraprofessionals course because in our society we thought there is a gap between the rural youth or rural women. They need most of the times emotional support. So that's why we started our course called mental health paraprofessionals, like lay counselors trained up to the field or community. So I'm looking through this. I'm really get a good network with you all. I'm a trainer actually. So mostly focused on Kerala speaking young people.
Lovely. You can drop in your details in the inbox if people want to get in touch with you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you. Yes. Whom do we have next here? Mr. Nagraj, Prasad Reddy, Preeti, Rajshri. Rajshri, come on, you should talk. So do drop in your details on the chat box as well so people can connect with you. And
I have given my intro already.
Yes. But just drop in your contacts in case people
Yes,
who join later. So yeah, anybody else? Because if this...
Yeah, hi, I'm Ramesh Ranjan. I'm one of the co-founders of the Global HR community.
Sorry for that.
First of all, thank you for all of you all to take your time off on a Saturday to be here. But I think it's a cause which you're going to really appreciate and it's going to be very useful because we're talking about wellness and mental health. And this initiative, which we have started starting half an hour earlier, is basically to help us, our members and our prospective members, to first connect, to learn, and then to grow. And I think we have achieved that objective so far. We have been able to connect with a lot of people, right? People whom we never met, people from far and wide. I see people from Zurich, from Dubai, from Bombay, from Ahmedabad, from Hyderabad, from Bangalore, from Mumbai. So truly, this is a global initiative which helps us to cut across regions barriers and come together for a cause. And we're extremely happy. And I would like to thank Akshara for having taken this initiative to talk to us on a very important topic, which I think is the need of the day. Every day we are seeing the tragic news of people ending their lives, people going through stress, people going through a lot of mental difficulties. And this is something I think many times we brush it under the carpet. And it's very important that we take cognizance of this serious health issue and address it and work towards a better mental health for all of us. So once again, thank you. And I wish you all become a part of our global HR community, and any which way which can help you, please feel free to reach out to either Shubha or to me or to any other members of my team.
Yeah. Thank you, Ranjan. So before we move on to Akshara, let's talk a little about Akshara. So I'm really thrilled to introduce Akshara today as a speaker. Akshara Damle, a renowned psychologist, TEDx speaker, founder of ManoSamvaada and Vishit Wellness. Akshara is celebrated for his expertise in mental wellness, leadership, self-growth, as well as his work as an author, columnist, and actor as well. Beyond today's session, Akshara has conducted transformative programs like Life Full of Freedom, helping individuals break free from emotional baggage, Netrutvam, enhancing leadership skills with empathy and assertiveness, Conscious Parenting, guiding parents in better understanding of their children, Business Bloomer, empowering entrepreneurs to scale their ventures by addressing psychological and systematic barriers. So we will be having him host on GHRC platform today. Is mental health a hype or a need? So let's move on to Akshara. We give him a warm welcome. So over to you, Akshara.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for your kind introduction, and I'm so happy that so many people have joined on this Saturday morning, and a lot of expectations. I don't know if we can meet all those expectations in this webinar because of the limited scope of a webinar. However, I really thank every one of you from bottom of my heart for joining this webinar, and I also thank the GHRC team for organizing it because there's a lot of hard work that has gone behind in organizing this webinar. As we all of know, I'm aware that most of us are aware about the mental health issues that we are facing, but then just to set the context, at society, a lot of people consider mental health issue as something which is very stigmatic or stigmatized and something that only mad people have. And as a result of that, most of the people actually do not really reach out to a mental health therapy or a treatment. Rather, as Ranjan also rightly said, many people end up taking drastic steps instead of addressing them. Of course, we all observe World Mental Health Day on October 10th, and we also celebrate May month as Mental Health Awareness Month, which is a kind of testimony to the kind of work that a lot of people are doing in terms of bringing awareness about mental health, and it is very, very important for all of us to talk more and more about it. But at the same time, the question is really, are we addressing those challenges? For example, a lot of people are going through the challenges of anxiety, fear, depression, or self-doubt, inferiority, shame, guilt, sleeplessness, and so many other issues. It could be worry, it could be stress, it could be anger issues, and many other issues. But one of the major challenges that we all have today, being even as a mental health practitioner myself, the major challenge is most of the people are in denial. And unfortunately, many people still think that if we don't give attention to that, then it will fade eventually. For example, there is something really bothering in my mind, and I would like to ignore it, or I would like to suppress it so that we believe that it will fade eventually. And then there are also so many people who think that time will heal. We just need to give some time for that to heal, but which is also not a reality. And again, a lot of people, this had become a buzz statement during COVID time, that this time, this too shall pass, which is great to hear. But then when it comes to mental health challenges, this may not be a great thought, because sometimes the more time you give with the, or the more time you live with the complexities or difficulties in terms of mental health, it can lead to more and more complexities than becoming this too shall pass. So this is another more bigger challenge, that we still think that pretending very strong, I am a very strong person, will make us really strong. Just because you pretend that you are strong, again, there are a lot of questions around being strong mentally. What does that actually mean? But many of us think that by suppressing all the negative emotion, or by suppressing all the vulnerabilities, we can actually become strong, which is again a misnomer among a lot of people, because of which many times we end up missing out or missing the bus in terms of addressing the mental health challenges. Let us look at this case study. He's a boy of 19-year-old who actually was feeling very, very bad, very, very sad, and very, very low in his energy. And he was not finding it, he was not waking up with any energy. He was always sad, bad, and so on. And apparently, he told his father that, I think I need a mental health therapy. And unfortunately, the father said, "Oh, all these are these youngsters' jargons. You people do not have the mental strength. You just go for a walk, listen to some music, and you will be all right." He didn't even acknowledge that the young boy was really going through a challenge, and he took that courage to come to the father and say, "Dad, I really need to take some help." Thankfully, his sister also overheard this conversation, and she actually became a support structure for him, and she took him to the therapist, and then he got better, which would have been not the case otherwise. So if you look at largely the kind of statistics that we have, approximately 15% of Indian adults, which is nearly 200 million people, suffer from some form of mental health issues. Depression alone affects around 5% of Indian population. Around 7.3% of India's youth face mental health issues, translating into roughly 1 in every 7 young person is going through a mental health challenge. India has one of the highest suicide rates in the world. The pandemic has led to a 20% increase in the mental health disorders, including anxiety and depression, across various age groups. It is not restricted to any specific age group. And approximately 42.5% of corporate employees in India suffer from stress, anxiety, or depression, as per the ASSOCHAM survey. So let us get into some kind of interaction so that we can also understand where we all stand in terms of what is happening in our life too. So I request all of you to respond in the chat box so that we can know where we are. And at the same time, it can also be a good way to look at what is the current status that we are all going through. So my simple question is, how many of you feel rested enough? You can just put a yes in the chat box. Let's make it a little interactive. We cannot give the liberty of unmuting everyone and speak up. But again, let's use chat box as a kind of a medium for us to have an interaction. Okay, I can see a mixture of yes and no. And what happens when you don't sleep well? How many of you feel, or what is that you feel when you do not get a proper sleep? Yes, the day goes less productive. There is a lot of irritability, tiredness, fatigue. People may feel zombie. People may also feel have headaches or less energy or irritatedness, tiredness, restlessness, and so on, right? And in fact, if we look at the recent statistics, around 50% of people in India are sleep deprived, which is an alarming number, because sleep is one of the prominent aspects in our life. Let me share you this case study of another client of mine. She's a young woman in her early 30s. She is a government servant, drawing a very good salary. She also has a, understanding and loving husband. Both of them, both the husband and wife, are doctors, and both of them have gotten into the government service. And things are pretty well in her life, except the sleep. So interesting part is when everything else is going well, she was struggling with the sleep issue. She happened to come for a therapy session, and then the interesting statement that she made is, I think I'm born insomniac because it's been ages that I have slept well. There were very few incidents or days when I have slept to a considerable extent of time. Otherwise, I have been struggling with my sleep. So, of course, since I got to know that she is a doctor, I asked her, have you already consulted your psychiatrist friends to address this issue? She said, yes, I have taken pills, but then they are making me more lethargic. Of course, okay, after taking the pills, I'm getting sleep, but after a point of time, I mean, early morning, when I have to wake up and get back to work, I'm not able to. It has impacted me very badly. Then I also asked her, have you checked YouTube? Because that has been one another, easy spot for all of us to find solutions for our problems. So I asked her, have you consulted or have you checked your checked in YouTube how to sleep better? What are the measures to be taken to sleep better? And she said, yes, I have watched almost all of them. Every day I search for a new video if that can suggest me anything. But then there is no such solution that has come out which has made me to sleep. So then I wanted to dig more into the history and other things. And then something uh, really critical that comes out. So when I asked her that you are saying that you're born insomniac, okay, let us understand what is happening in your life and what has happened in your childhood. And then I asked her, are you the only child? Then she said, no, I have a younger brother. Then I simply asked her, how did you feel when your brother was born? And then slowly tears started rolling in her eyes. And then she started saying, that was a pretty bad time. I asked her what happened. She said, my parents had a smaller cot and they thought that the son wanted more care. So they used to keep him in between. Of course, he was younger than her. So parents logically thought that he needs to be protected. So they kept him when they would go to bed, and she was not given that space to sleep with them. And she wanted that warmth, she wanted that sense of security, and unfortunately she was made to sleep little away from them perpendicularly. So she also ended up saying that she used to hold their feet to get that warmth, but unfortunately they would kick her out because it would disturb their sleep. And since then, she has lost her sleep. And as in early 30s, she was not remembering that it is because of this traumatic incident she had lost sleep. Rather, she had attributed or labeled herself that I'm born insomniac. And we could address that trauma through inner child healing. And then from that day itself, it didn't even take much time. From that day itself, she has been sleeping like a baby. So this is what also can happen for our sleeplessness. So sleeplessness, maybe a lot of people think that maybe it is because of gadget addiction or many other disturbances, problems in life and so on. But there could be many other underlying factors for your sleeplessness. How many of you have anger issues? How many feel angry very often? You can put a yes if you are somebody who gets really angry. And how many of you are famous for being very angry person? People find it very difficult to talk to you or reach out to you because they have this notion that you're a very angry person. And what do you do when you get angry? What is that you do when you get angry? Generally, what do you do when you get angry? Maybe some people outburst with other people. Maybe some people just hold on to themselves without even expressing what is whatever it is. And there are many ways people express their anger, and some people may break their phones or pens or whatever is available at their disposal. Yeah, so these are some of the major issues that a lot of people also go through, but people generally say that this is what I am and accept me the way I am. Again, this is where the major challenge is. Why should other people accept the way you are when you are also able to recognize that this is a dysfunctional pattern? So this is where a major challenge a lot of people have, but unfortunately, people are not addressing it because everyone knows that anger is a very natural emotion. I'm not against having anger. Anger is a very natural emotion. In fact, even in Bharata's Natya Shastra, where he has talked about Navarasas, Raudra is one of the of the rasas which he also has mentioned. And unfortunately, we do not have a healthy way of expressing our anger, which is why we are struggling with anger as an issue. Let's get into one more major challenge a lot of people have in the present time. How many of you feel anxious in uncertain situations, like when your boss calls suddenly or when something happens suddenly that you feel anxious and you're unable to deal with that? Or how many of you experience chilling in your stomach or get frozen whenever there is a kind of situation where you are unable to handle? Yeah. So you can put a yes again if you feel anxious, or if you are somebody who feels anxious whenever such situations come. And great, I think again, even here, I can see a mixture of yes and no, which is also a good thing. I mean, we are seeing mixture of people. Let me share how anxiety can also impact a person. She's a young young professional working in an investment banking and has a very good job life, but she always used to get anxious. And she was in a relationship with a boy, and apparently he also was her colleague, and she always used to share her insecurity with him. And when he would not respond anything, because initially he would say that I am there with you, I'm going to stand by you, etc., etc., but after a point of time he also got tired of seeing that, so he would keep quiet, and then that will make her insecure, that will make her anxious, and then she will go shivering, she will have profusely sweating, and then she would not know what to do. And sometimes there were also situations where she had a blackout. So this used to be the case, and it was becoming an everyday affair, and she started becoming very, very vulnerable, and that is when she reached out. Again, one more point to note down, that most of the people reach out to a therapist only after it reaches a peak level where it is unreasonable or it is becoming very difficult to deal with. That is when people reach out to therapists, which is also something that we all need to know or note down. And also, as a matter of awareness, we also have to make or bring it to the awareness of people that therapy has to happen at the earliest so that it can be very, very easy and helpful. However, coming back to the case, so she reached out to me, and what was happening is, so she had lost her parents in an accident when she was, say, around 5 years old. And since then, she was taken care by her uncle, and there was no emotional attachment with her aunt. Even though uncle was very warm and he was very supportive, she always felt that insecurity, and she always felt that there is nobody who belongs to me, or whom do I belong to, was another question that she was going through. And even though she performed very well in her education, she was a topper, she got into very good institutions, and she got a very good job. Everything was there, but still there was a kind of emotional lacunae that she was going through, because of which she was trying to cling on to the boyfriend. However, the unfortunate thing was the boyfriend also got stuck. He started getting suffocated with those questions, and he had to answer them every day. And that also became a challenge for him, which is why anxiety is also something that we all need to address. And how many of you have negative thoughts? Whenever you want to do something, how many of you start thinking about the negative things first? Like what can go wrong? What can happen if this is done in a bad way? So how many of you have these negative thoughts? Or do you question about yourself? Am I really going to do this? Any of those questions in your mind? If it is yes, please put a yes. If it is a no, great. So these are something that keep revolving, and unfortunately, sometimes those who have negative thoughts, they will keep on revolving in the same thoughts. It's like a vicious cycle, one after another, another. I mean, it keeps on continuing, and people do not have a kind of break into these negative thoughts, and it becomes really difficult to deal with such issues. And in fact, those negative thoughts actually lead to the issue of self-doubt, as some of you mentioned, that people start asking questions like, am I worthy enough? Do I really deserve this? Have I really done something well to get recognized by other people? So self-doubt is another major challenge a lot of people go through. But again, people generally do not reach out to a therapist to address these kind of things, because they think that that is how they are. Or some people also attribute that that is the humble way of being for themselves, which is also not correct. I'll tell you another example, because I have brought these case studies so that it can become easy to understand how it actually manifests in our real life. So she's a young, no, she's not a young, she's a leader in a corporate company. She's in almost top second position in the country. She has been handling different challenges. She was, I mean, she has raised into the top level after enough experience handling different challenges, different kinds of teams, different kind of bosses, and so on. And recently, the company actually offered a promotion, and at the same time, she also got an offer from another company with the double the salary. Unfortunately, she was having a question in her mind that, am I really good enough? Do I deserve this promotion, or do I deserve that offer from the other company, which is kind of a very lucrative job, which is going to make me reach to some position that I really wanted to in my early days. But now I'm asking a lot of questions about myself, saying, am I really worthy enough? Am I really deserving candidate for this position? Or maybe there are so many other people who are equally qualified or equally deserving. So this is another challenge this lady was going through. I'll tell you where this came from. In her early 30s, now she is in late 40s. In her early 30s, she was a very good performer. And even now, she is a great performer in her work, even in terms of handling her household chores. But unfortunately, her husband always kept on criticizing her that, what is that good thing that you're doing? Or you are not doing anything great. It's all anybody can be, anybody would be doing. So she always felt that she is not doing anything extraordinary, or she always felt that whatever she did was always a mediocre thing. And because of those words which kept on in as her, I mean, though initially he used to say, or he keeps telling it whenever he wants to establish his authority on her, and this had become an inner voice for herself. And whenever she got a better opportunity, this would keep ringing in her mind that you are not good enough, you are not worthy enough, you are not doing something great, you are a mediocre performer, and many other things. And because of that, she was struggling to get over that, and she was not even reaching out to the company saying that I'm open for this opportunity. So this is how the past baggages can really influence or impact our lives. And only after the therapeutic session, she went on with the interview. She performed very well, and she also happened to get that dream job that she always dreamt of in her early days of her career. So I have been talking about this called inner child healing. But let me talk about the significance of this, because This is something that is very, very important for all of us to understand, and many people are not recognizing this as a major challenge for a lot of people. Let me ask you the questions again. How many of you get haunted by some of the experiences of your childhood or some of the experiences of the past? Because for us, maybe 5 days ago was a child for today's adult, right? So, how many of you actually go through the or actually get haunted by the experiences of the past? You can put a yes or a no. Yeah. And do you also get held back because of those memories of the negative incidents of the past, whatever has happened in the past? Do you also get those memories and they kind of create a block in terms of going ahead or doing something new? Yeah. So this is where a major thing that we all need to understand, that the childhood trauma need not be, again, many people think that trauma is a very severe incident that has happened. Need not be the case, because sometimes the incidents may be smaller as when you look at it as an adult, but unfortunately when you were a child, for that child it was very, very important. For example, you did something good and you expected a kind of appreciation from your parents or your teacher, and they didn't give a damn about it. For that child, that recognition from them was a very crucial thing, but it went missing. And then the child starts thinking that maybe I'm not good enough, or whatever I did was not really worthy of appreciation. And then the inferiority complex starts building up in that person. So it need not be a trauma it need not be a very severe incident to call it as a trauma. It can be an emotional baggage also, which can also influence the current state of being. And also, when you look at the future, things may still haunt you, or they can become hurdles in your life. Let me share you this another case study. He's an entrepreneur in his late 40s, and he has been a very charming person in his early career, and he was a go-getter in his college days. He was a happy-go-lucky person, and he was in a job where he used to meet so many different kind of people in authority, people in senior positions, and he would get the job done. But currently, the same person is finding it very difficult to face authority figures. In fact, he specifically mentioned, the moment I see that somebody is qualified from IIMs or IITs or maybe any other premier institute, I feel myself very small. Even though he is very good at whatever he is doing. He is an interior designer and he is very good at whatever the work that he does. But then he always have this fear to face the authority figure or people who are very well qualified from known institutions. The reason, when we dug into or when we gotten into an inner child healing, we recognized one of the major incidents that happened when he was 23-year-old. That even though he was very well performing, his boss happened to scold him very badly and abused him very badly. And he also asked him something or to do certain tasks which he never wanted to do. He was not okay to do those things. But the boss insisted that you will have to do this. This is something that you have to do. And that is when the person felt so bad about himself and he felt so threatened to face an authoritative figure. And since then, he developed this fear to face authorities. And the same person, even though in his late 40s, almost nearing 50, still carries that fear to face the authority figures. And when we did an inner child healing, we could build a lot of resource in that 23-year-old who was going through the trauma because of the experience that he had with his boss. And once we healed the wounds of the past, now he has become that person with a lot of freedom. And he has also started interacting with people, whoever it is, be it person from very qualified, who has come from very premier institute, or who is very big authoritative person, or working in top positions of companies, etc., etc. He has been able to work talk and interact with them very freely, which has actually enhanced the scope of his business, and he has also been able to scale his business because he is free from all the barriers that he has been carrying. So this is the possibility of an inner child healing. So now tell me whether mental health is a need or a hype. Whether it is a need or is it a hype? Thank you for sharing that. It is a need in the present time and it has to be addressed. Great that now we are all on the same board, that we are all agreeing that it is a need. Now let us see where and all these issues are coming from, right? So we have seen some of the case studies, but let us understand where are these coming from or what could be the major factors influencing our mental health. So I have broadly categorized them into 5S. Need not be, or we don't have to restrict only to these 5S, but for our current understanding, let us put them as 5S. So first S is socialization, second is social control, stress, self-induced inhibitions, and also social media. Let us look at them one by one. I'm sure most of you know the definition of socialization. It's a process where you, in the process of growing up, you get to know how to live in this society and what are the do's and don'ts, what are right and wrong, etc., through your parents or elders and so on. So primary socialization can happen at home, and secondary socialization can happen in the school and society at large. How many of you had your parents in your, I want all of you to go back to your childhood and start thinking about your childhood. Whenever you wanted to climb a ladder or maybe a tree, small tree, or anything that is wherever you wanted to climb up, how many of you had your parents saying, hey, you may fall down? If it is a yes, please put a yes. How many of you had parents who said, hey, you may fall down? Or how many of you had elders around you who said, hey, you may fall down? Instead of saying, hey, climb up, and it can be a great space to be on the top, correct? Even though, there are so many evidences to say that even as a kid of 6 to 7 months old, we are aware of the depth perception. Even though we will take care of, we have that instinct, natural instinct within us to take care of them ourselves. Still, the elders around us have always been creating the fear of falling down than going up. Now you can recognize where are these fears coming from. Whenever you think about something, doing something new, and you start feeling that what if I fail is coming, could be coming from a situation like this, because you were always told that you may fall instead of you may succeed, you may reach heights. So that is where a lot of people start developing the vicious cycle of negative thoughts, and this could be one of the root causes of your negative thoughts. Now, secondly, self-induced issues. Now, this is again because of the childhood experiences that we had. But here, others have not said anything, but we have created our own meanings out of those experiences. Like I mentioned, when you didn't get an appreciation from parents or teachers, you only created that meaning saying probably this was not good enough to get appreciation. Probably this is what it is. Probably the world is like this. Probably people are like this. Probably I'm destined to do only this much. So these are the meanings that we have created in our own mind, which become our own self-induced barriers in our growth path. Now you can all look at all the inner voices that you have in your mind. Whenever you want to do something, whenever you want to get into new things, your inner voice will keep on saying, what if this doesn't go well? What if it doesn't go right? Maybe even, even when you want to catch a bus or a train or a flight, the immediate thought is, what if I miss the flight? Then how great it would be when I'm in the flight, right? So, or even when somebody is getting into a driving, people first think about what if I meet with an accident, instead of how joyful the ride would be. All these things are could be the influences of your inner voice, which might have come through the meanings that you have created for yourself from the past experiences. And also social control. Kirana was mentioning that especially the girl child have a lot of social control. I mean, I mean, maybe in early ages, the everyone will have different kinds of barriers, and especially it could be gender specific as well. And most of the times we are worried more about log kya kahenge than what is it going to give me, or what is that I am thinking about that. And whether you do good things or bad things, people will have their own comments to make, and you cannot stop them from commenting whatever they want to. But unfortunately, we are so worried about people and society and how they would look at us, instead of how am I going to look at myself and how am I going to create the life for myself. And stress is again another major challenge a lot of people going through in the present time. In fact, what I'm seeing as a practitioner is right from young children to old age people, everyone is going through one or other kind of stress. And one more major challenge is many people have made or normalized stress as something that everyone has, so I have, so I don't have to address. And because of this stress, even though it may appear more mental in the beginning, unfortunately, in the present time, what we are seeing is stress is leading to a lot of physical health issues. It could be irritable bowel syndrome, it could be myositis, it could be fibromyalgia, it could be pain in the back of the neck or lower back, or maybe frozen shoulders. So stress can create so many physical or psychosomatic issues for a lot of people, which many people do not even recognize what actually is the root cause. And we end up bearing with the stress, dealing with the stress, and we do not do anything much to deal with the stress. I'm not saying that we can lead a life without having any stressors, but we can definitely have that empowerment within ourselves so that we will be able to deal with stress in much better way, so that it doesn't hamper or impact our own health. And of course, in the present time, social media is another major factor which is creating a lot of psychological issues for multiple reasons. One, the addiction with the social media. Like there are people who want to post reels or post every now and then without having any agenda or any requirement. They just want to keep posting because they have this fear of missing out as a major syndrome. Or some people have this habit of continuous watching reels or some videos on the mobile, which is also another, has created another major challenge, because social media has actually made us less social in the real life and more virtual in the real life. So this is a major challenge. And at the same time, a lot of I mean, the people who are talking about mental health issues without having real experience and expertise in the mental health field, by reading some books, and they are talking about mental health challenges, and people are also talking about mental health disorders in the social media without even looking at the real symptoms and the expertise to recognize them. And many people come to me and say that, hey, I think I have 60% of depression. Hey, I think I have 70% of anxiety. And I wonder, where is this coming from? Where is the measurement coming from? And many people say that I just Googled some psychometric test, and then I gave the test, and then I found that this is what the problem that I'm going through. So this is where a lot of challenges are coming to towards our mental health. So now, isn't it important for us to take care of the mental health when we have recognized the causes? First thing is, we all acknowledge that many of us have our own mental health challenges. Secondly, we also looked at the possible causal factors. Now we also need to look at how do we deal with it, or how do we enhance our mental health so that it can be better. See, when it comes to physical health issues, it is easy for us to understand or measure. For example, or many of the fitness trainers or fitness consultants say that you have to walk 10,000 steps a day. And these days, there are digital watches through which, or even the phones, can help you in recognizing how many steps that you have walked in the day, so that you can actually measure the amount of exercise that you have done for your body. But is it the same in case of mind? And how do we define mental health is also a major challenge in the present time. And if you go through the WHO definition, it is such a long paragraph that we may not even understand what it is, or it includes so many things that it may be difficult for us to actually comprehend and practice something in our real life, so that we can actually upgrade our mental health. And a lot of people think that meditation is the only way for our mental health. While I am a true admirer of meditation or different methods of meditation, in the present time, a lot of people have a major challenge, that is time. Nobody has time today. Or even those who think that they are practicing meditation often tell me that I practice meditation every day for 10 minutes. Then my simple question is, are you really doing meditation, or are you really wondering about whether the 10 minutes are over? So the moment you keep a specific timeline for practicing meditation, then you're actually not doing meditation, because meditation cannot happen based on a specific timing. It is a state where you have to reach there and then enjoy that emptiness. And then once you feel complete with that, then you can come back. So that is why meditation has become a challenge for many people. So hence, I have come up with a formula for mental wellness called REST formula. Let us look at all of them one by one. R stands for resilience and reflectivity. E stands for equilibrium of ABC. S stands for sense of satisfaction, fulfillment, and gratitude. And T stands for true perception. Let us look at them one by one. Resilience is the capacity of a person to bounce back from wherever they are. How do we do that? How do we even know that we have gone off track and it is time for us to come back to the normalcy? That for that, we need to reflect on our emotions, thoughts, and behavior. Just like we look at the mirror every day to see if our appearance is looking good, if we are well dressed, if we are appealing to others, in the same way, I request all of you to reflect on your emotions, thoughts, and behavior. And when you do that, it will be easy for you to recognize if there is any derailment from the normalcy, and then it is easy to come back through the resilience. Now, the question is, what is normalcy? How do we define normalcy? So for that, the answer is equilibrium of affection, behavior, and cognition. Now, you might have studied in chemistry long time ago that equilibrium is a state of, it is a mixture where all the components are in equilibrium or equal proportion. In the same way, here, when it comes to mental health, what I'm suggesting is, I want you all to be in a state from where all the different types of emotions or thoughts are in equilibrium, or in an equidistant space. For example, if you want to feel happy, you can feel happy and then come back. If you want to feel sad, you can feel sad and then come back. If you want to feel angry, you can feel angry and then come back. If you want to feel disgusted, you can feel disgusted and come back. If you want to be enthusiastic, you can feel enthusiastic and then come back. So this is where you have access to all different types of emotions and you experience it completely and then come back. Again, I am reiterating the fact that I'm not saying to disown any of those emotions, be it positive or negative. Many often I see that many people say that whenever there is a negative emotion, they end up suppressing them. It's not just negative emotion. Even when there are positive emotions, still they end up disowning them. For example, you get an award and people are coming and congratulating you, and you will say, hey, it's not a big deal. It's okay. I'm not so big, or I'm not. And you do not even acknowledge whatever you have done, which is commendable, which is recognized by others. So this is where the challenge is. You are disowning your own emotion, be it positive or negative. So instead, what I suggest is go to that emotion, experience it, and then come back. When you do that, it is definitely, very healthy way of being in the mentally healthy state, where you are accessing all different kinds of emotion in your life. And then sense of satisfaction, fulfillment, and gratitude. This is again a major aspect in our life. Satisfaction comes from the fact that if you're doing things to your optimal level, be it any kind of work, that is when you get satisfaction. And fulfillment is about contentment with what you have, be it tangible or intangible things, but being happy and content about what you have. And gratitude is sharing or being thankful to others, because nobody is independent in this world. In fact, a lot of youngsters keep saying that I want to be independent by the age of 25 or 30. But if you actually look at it, there is nothing called independence in this world, because we are dependent on one another in one or other way. Only we are talking about financial independence, where we say that I want to have so much of money so that I don't have to ask anybody when I have to or when I want to spend them. And we are thinking that that is an independent state of being, which is also not correct, because we are all interdependent in this world. And it is very humbling experience to acknowledge that whatever we are today is because of the contribution of so many other people across the world, directly or indirectly. And T stands for true perception. True perception is where you are perceiving things as they are instead of perceiving things the way you want it to be. So when you are perceiving things as they are, then it is very, very easy for you to understand things simply and straightforward. For example, you walk into a room and you see that two people are talking and they look at you and then they start laughing. Now, generally, what happens is we start thinking that they must be laughing about us, whereas they may be laughing as a part of their conversation where they crack joke about something else. And probably you can also be part of that conversation and join them in the conversation and also the laughter. But unfortunately, what many times we do is we start thinking about only the negative things, saying that probably they are uh, talking about me or gossiping about me or laughing at me and so on. Because of that, we end up developing or getting into a vicious cycle of negative thoughts, and then we do not know what needs to be done. So that is why I always say that perceiving things as they are is the best way. And in case if they were actually laughing at you, then it is a good possibility for you to address those lacunae or limitations that you might have for which they were laughing, so that you can overcome them and become much better than what you are. And if you are able to practice rest formula in the truest sense, then you can actually get a very good sleep. And as we already spoke about the importance of sleep, sleep is a major contributing factor in our mental health. The day you are sleep deprived, you will have higher frequency of irritation, anger, frustration, restlessness, and so on. So if you are able to get a good sleep, if you are feeling rested enough, then it is easy for all of you to have a good mental health. So that is where the rest formula comes into picture. And when you are able to practice all that, you can actually have a balanced life. And when you are mentally healthy, you will be at your best at your work. You will be able to handle different stressors in a better way and keep your energy intact. You will be happy in your life. Life becomes more meaningful, and you can also contribute for your life and others' life in a much better way. With that note, I thank all of you for patiently listening to me. And if you have any questions, we are open to have. And in fact, we have other therapists and psychologists in the room. So I'm open for their thoughts also. They can share their reflections and thoughts so that we can have a healthy discussion about mental health at large. Thank you so much.
Lovely, Akshara. Thanks a lot. That means a lot, and we've learned a lot as well. We'll wait for the Q&As to happen, right?
Sure.
Sure, on this Ranjanya, there is a lot of, I will say, ignorance about the difference between psychology and psychiatry. They say clinical psychology and psychiatry. So, can you just, at a very high level, tell us what exactly is the difference between psychiatry and psychology?
Definitely, because I think this is one of the major challenges a lot of people have, uh, because they do not know what is the difference between these two uh, kinds of professionals. In fact, if you look at mental health space at large, there are different kinds of practitioners. There are psychiatrists, there are psychologists, there are psychiatric social workers, and psychiatric nurses. These are the four different categories of mental health practitioners or mental health personnel. And psychiatrists are the ones who have done MBBS degree and who have also gone into uh, doing masters in psychiatry, and that is where they become psychiatrists, right? And when it comes to the psychologists, they are the ones who have done masters in psychology, either through BA in psychology and then gotten into MA in psychology or MSc in psychology, and they may also have gone ahead with their academics in terms of MPhil and PhD. So even if a psychologist carries a doctor as a prefix, it is primarily a PhD for themselves. And what we also see is the psychologists are the ones who are experts in therapeutic processes. So in terms of assessment, in terms of therapies, in terms of counseling, these are the expertise of a psychologist. And very few psychiatrists have the expertise in these areas because primarily their expertise in terms of medical care, in terms of medicines, which medicine has to be given for which disorder. So in terms of mental health terminology, we also call it as pharmacotherapy, where we give pharmaceutical drugs to treat the mental health. So this is the major challenge between a psychologist and a psychiatrist. And I always suggest that whoever has any kind of mental health challenge, can we move to person?
Guys, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself.
Yeah, so
The host can
Can
mute
host,
the person. Please do that.
yeah. Yeah. I think. Can we mute them? Yeah, so I generally suggest that reach out to a psychologist first, let them assess, and only if required, you can go for medicines, because medicines have their own side effects to a person's body and mind. So that is where I would always suggest go to a psychologist first.
Then who are these counselors?
Sorry?
Who are the counselors?
Yeah, I mean, the term counselor is a very ambiguous term or a vague term in the present time. Many people use counseling for various things, right from psychological counseling to, I mean, there are genetic counselors, there are school counselors, so career counselors. So, counselor is something that is widely used by people. But that is why I always say that go to a psychologist or a counseling psychologist if I mean, ensure that the psychological expertise is there with them, because again, it is not very regulated space even now, and hence there are so many people with just with their life experience, they start saying that now I can counsel people. And such people actually have been creating more harm to other people who are consulting them than actually treating them or helping them. So whoever wants to work in the mental health space need a specific training, and only after that they can get into the practice.
Thank you.
And I think we have some questions at the. One
Yeah.
second, let me read that. How do we deal with authority and power of leaders at the workplace who themselves are not addressed their mental health concerns and lay it on teams, their ways of working, generally lack of psychological safety? The team generally bears burden without saying much.
Yeah, this is a major challenge in many organizations, that the bosses themselves have not recognized that they themselves carry some issues within themselves, and also because of such issues, sometimes they can also impact the mental health of other people. In fact, recently somebody was saying that their boss is a workaholic and they expect their employees or the team members also to work just like them, and that also had created a difficulty for their life. So this can be a major challenge for many people. And in such cases, what the simple thing that they can do is, maybe as a team they can start addressing their mental health challenges in a group scenario. For example, even talking about their vulnerabilities, dealing with their bosses, or in their real, personal life or professional life. So there is something called Happiness Club, a concept that I came up with to work with the students in schools or in terms of employees in organizations, where I created this kind of ecosystem where people would share their vulnerabilities with each other and they would become support structures for each other. Because when you have somebody who is not even understanding that this is one of the issues to be addressed, then you only have to help yourself. Maybe you can slowly make the boss also understand that, see, this is what we are going through, and can we do it in this way? Can we create a structure in terms of our working culture or working style or in terms of deliverables and so on? Then it may be easy for them to address such challenges. Otherwise, if you want to fight it all alone, then that may not be a great idea, because then you will be cornered or you will be labeled, and then shaming or and many other things can happen. So any kind of such issues have to be handled from a group level, then only it would be very effective.
Thank you, Akshara. Now, Nitish Sharma has asked a question. How do you address the issues of employees venting unrelated frustrations in surveys, which can lead to skewed results in like inflate stress levels? What method can help to ensure surveys reflect genuine work related to concern rather than temporary emotions?
Yeah, what has also happened is, in the present time, a lot of people have got used to answering the psychometric tests. Now, since they are available online randomly, so people have started understanding what should be the ideal answer to these questions. And they're not real in answering those questions. And that is why many times it is becoming very difficult to use psychometric tests as a tool to understand what is really happening in the person. For example, recently Delhi police had reached out to me saying there are a lot of stress among our employees, the personnel, police personnel, and can we do an intervention? So they only suggested that because the number is large, they want to address or a sample, people, now a number of 300 to 400 people at a stretch. So we had to go for a psychometric assessment. In the psychometric assessment, what they have answered is like, everything is good, there is work-life balance, there is no fatigue, there is no exhaustion, nothing is mentioned in the psychometric test. Now, if you go by that report, then we do not have to do anything with those personnel. But in reality, they are seeing a lot of things coming out in different ways. So this is where the psychometric tests or surveys or questionnaires are failing in the present time, is what my personal opinion is. I'm not against people who are still conducting psychometric tests, but maybe personal interactions would help much better. But again, when we have to address a large number of audience, again, it becomes a challenge in terms of time constraints. Yeah.
Anurima says, is it possible to heal 100% of trauma or something that may be stored in your memory, or is it just manageable? For a lot of chronic disorders, also it says it is only manageable. What does that mean?
Very interesting question, because generally in our society, what we say is forgive and forget. A lot of people use this term. It's okay, you forgive that person. He or she has done bad to you. You forgive them so that you can live in peace. And also, people say that you forget about it. Why are you still carrying in your head? But the pain of such trauma can only be experienced and understood by the person who has gone through it. Now, when I was talking about inner child healing, it is like a psychosurgery where, say, for example, I give you a simple example in terms of our layman understanding. So suppose there is a pain in your forearm, okay? And you are not understanding where is this pain coming from, but there is a pain. there is no specific wound in the superficial layer, but there is a pain. So what we do in inner child healing is we cut open the space where you are having pain, and then go and explore what is the root cause of it, and then take out the triggering aspects of it, and then stitch it back and heal. Now, through inner child healing, we are not saying that you will be able to forget those emotional trauma, but we can definitely heal the wounds of those trauma so that it doesn't hurt you anymore. So, yes, there are cases, or there are enough evidences to say that people have definitely come out of those pain or hurt of those trauma. But I do not say anywhere that it will help you in forgetting those incidents. It will definitely be there in your mind, but you would be making peace with it, and it will not create any pain to you, so that you can lead a life in a better way.
Thank you, Akshara. Then Nitish Sharma has asked, after doing multiple mental health workshops, webinars, sharing good habits and tips to keep mental health in good shape, a lot of activities, month and month over, post how to access the correct situation, either some positive impact is reflecting or not. He says, how do you assess?
Yeah. Again, reflection is the best way to assess
Yeah.
oneself, because when you start asking questions to yourself, like, am I thinking right? Or if you have any thought for that matter, where is this thought coming from? Where am I feeling this? Where is the behavior coming from? If you start dissecting yourself and start introspecting, that is the best way to assess yourself if you are in the right frame or in the wrong frame. If you're carrying all the functional patterns within you or the dysfunctional patterns. So when you are able to do that, if you start recognizing that there are dysfunctional patterns that are running in your life, then it is the time for you to address them. If you feel that, okay, now I have come out of these dysfunctional patterns, then you can pat your back yourself, saying, okay, this is something, an improvement that I have done in my life.
Yeah. Before I move on to Nagaraj, I had one question. What do you think are some of the effective strategies to recognize or address such mental health issues which could be there with your acquaintance, friends, and people around you?
Yeah.
Do we get any signals? Like, how do we? Because we may move on in our own spree, but we'll never know what's happening, right? So we don't want to hurt people. So how do we get to know if there's such a,
if they are
is
going
that
to
any signs, or how do we pick it?
Yeah, very simple. In your casual conversations, I mean, if you simply talk about sleep issues, I mean, sleep is something that gets disturbed first to anybody who is going through any kind of mental health challenge, be it depression, anxiety, stress, etc., etc. So, if you start talking about sleep, then it is easy to recognize that there could be a problem. And when I say sleep issues, it need not be only
Guys,
sleep.
please mute yourself. Yeah, carry on.
When I say sleep issues, it need not be only sleep deprivation. Oversleeping can also be an issue, right? So whenever there is a kind of abnormality in sleep, that could be one thing. Or if you start seeing that the person is isolating themselves from other people, somebody who was very actively participating has started isolating, who has started dissociating from others, then that can also be another kind of a question mark that you can think about, and you can ask, hey, if everything is all right. And maybe you talking about your mental health openly, because you're talking about your close acquaintances or your loved ones or dear ones. So when you start talking about those things, then they may also start feel comfortable to talk about their wellness.
Speak about it.
Yeah. So conversation is a very important aspect in addressing or recognizing the mental health challenges.
Nagaraj asks us, kindly share your thoughts on which is the more effective online counseling or face-to-face by psychologist in a corporate environment.
Yeah, I mean, online mode of counseling is something that I started exploring in 2016 itself, primarily because in the current scenario, for example, in cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, etc., traveling itself is a very tedious task for a lot of people. For example, I mean, there was a client who used to travel almost 3.5 hours to reach my center, and then take session for 1.5 to 2 hours, and then travel back for another 3.5 hours, which is like one full day is gone for one session,
Yeah.
which may not be which may not be possible for so many people. And currently, what I'm also seeing is a lot of people who have traveled or who are settled abroad, the therapists over there are not able to understand the socio-psychological aspects of the people who are suffering, who basically belong to India. So that is where they actually need somebody who can understand the socio-psychological constraints that they are going through. For that, they need a person who is from India or having an Indian background. So in such scenarios, they are, adopting to online counseling. But I'm not saying that online counseling can replace offline sessions, because offline sessions have their own advantages in terms of effectiveness. But for the many other factors that are involved, online session, especially a video session, telephonic session is still not so effective. But if it is a full-on video session, then it can still help. It can still be able to do the justice for the person.
And then one more question from Nitish is, this question is for employees, means how to access it for employees where 2,000 people are there in an organization. It's difficult to reach out to each and every one, he says. So
yeah, this is again, scale is a major challenge for us. In fact, if you look at the numbers, there is one therapist who has the burden of treating 2 lakh people. So this is where the numbers are. And that is a primary challenge. So that is why making small groups among all these 2,000 or 3,000 employees and having a regular routine check could be a better idea to deal with, instead of thinking that one has to reach out to all the 2,000 people. So that can be a better idea. So that is where the happiness club kind of concept was introduced by me, because I cannot be there everywhere, or there are so many other psychologists, but still the numbers are very less at this point of time.
okay. Also, one more thing, how do you think that we could build a resilience and maintain emotional well-being during times of prolonged stress or uncertainty? Like, when we already know, okay.
Yeah, prolonged stress or uncertainty can be a kind of a troubling situation. In such cases, maybe reaching out to a therapist is better, because I don't say that everything can be done by yourself. In fact, even as a therapist, there could be situations where I need the help of other therapists, because sometimes when you are part of the problem, you may not be able to have that space to get out of the problem and see what is the problem that is really disturbing me. So in such cases, it is better to reach out to a
therapist for help.
And in fact, I am openly saying that as a therapist, we have our own groups where we conduct therapies to each other and heal each other. So we are having no shame to say that every one of us need therapy in one or other way. Yeah.
Correct. We have Preeti, Gandhi, and Kumada. I think Preeti can go first. Yeah, Preeti.
Akshara. This is with with your thing that you shared about the Delhi police, the numbers being so much, and then how to identify, because as you rightly said, psychometric tests have their own limitations. So one input I would like to give is, I'm a graphologist, and handwriting there are many applications. One of the application is understanding the stress in the writing and understanding many aspects. So probably this is a tool that could be used for that, where scale is an issue. So the current state of mind, after the therapy things that you provide them with, even the state later on, it could be a good pointer to that. That was
Absolutely, I agree with you. And in fact, even though people know graphology themselves, if they have issues, they cannot escape from getting it in their handwriting. So, any graphologist can definitely recognize. So, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we can use that as a assessment tool than using psychometry. Thanks for sharing that.
And I would be happy to collaborate on that. I have my own circle of graphologists. So if that is helpful, so that can certainly be taken care of as far as scale is concerned. And a lovely session, Akshara.
Thank you.
So beautifully conducted and so crisp.
Thank
you. Thankful for that, and thankful to Prada and their team for organizing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey Akshara,
Hi.
echoing the same words, great session, learned a lot. I just have this question, having served as a HR in most of the startups space, right? And now as part of the business that, I'm talking to, partnering with them for EAP and things like that. So everybody wants to, bring the well-being programs. Okay, the organizations do believe that yes, well-being is required, but they also have a hesitation that nobody uses it. Employees don't speak up. We just want it to be like, okay, we also have a EAP program. So have you faced such challenges, and what's your take on this, Akshay?
Yeah, I think this has been a challenge for many organizations. In fact, let me share one experience. Recently, I was invited as a guest speaker to talk about mental health in a cybersecurity company. Let me not name the company at this point of time. So it's a very premium cybersecurity company, and they are working for quite a long time in the space. And the HR was very particular, saying that none of our employees talk. They do not express. They're all hardcore techies, and they will simply look at you, stare at you, and not don't say anything to you, right? So even in the initial calls, she was mentioning about that we have done so many activities, we tried doing different things, but nothing has really worked well. And again, on the same day when I had reached there around half an hour earlier to the session, there also she said, see, I don't know what is going to happen. You are saying that you will interact, you will ask questions, and it can be a mess, it can be a flop show also. I said, okay, I will take care. So I just went into the room where the session was supposed to happen. It happened in the workplace itself, where they were actually working before. So the 12 o'clock was the session. So I reached there by 11:45, and a very severe, I mean, very intense discussion was happening among themselves, saying this many GBs can be transferred in this many hours, etc., etc. So many statistics and analysis. So I was just observing them. And then I started my session by talking about that specific current issue that they were going through and how it created stress in them. And then they could relate, oh, this is also a stress that we are all going through as a group. So probably we need to show them that how they are experiencing it in their real time, because even the companies know that one or other way they will have to put some stressors in order to get the work done. But at the same time, they do not want their employees to succumb to those stress, right? So this is a very difficult balance that they need to build in. So uh, so such by when we use their own real life examples or situations, and then we say that probably this is something that you have to look at, then slowly they start acknowledging. In fact, the same company people whom the HR was thinking that these are machines, they are not going to be humans in the session, actually asked for individual sessions later, saying I also have a problem. So probably we will have to do some innovations in terms of putting it across to them without using much technical jargons, because uh, sometimes yeah, they may not be able to relate to what we say. So then we will have to relate to what they understand and then put it across.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand the challenge in the corporate space.
Just another quick question. So we talk about stress, anxiety, everything is fine, but those are all the like navarasas you said. They're also some of the human emotions that we all carry, but
Yeah.
only when it crosses a certain threshold, that's when it becomes a problem, right? Now, how should we help these people to recognize the stress? See, even for us, all of us to do something, certain amount of stress is required, right? Now my
Yeah.
rice cooker is giving visual, it's also taking through some stress. So in order to transform or do something, there is some amount of stress is required. So by talking so much about stress, anxiety, are we making it a taboo or something? Is something the question that comes to me always.
Yeah, that could be another challenge, that uh, sometimes talking too much can also be a problem. For example, once Deepika Padukone came out and said that she went through depression, a lot of people started, even when they were just sad, they started saying, I am depressed. And it became a status issue for them, right? So that was on the one side. But on the other side, as you rightly said, that too much of uh, throwing of information can also become kind of resisting factor for them to say, hey, let's not talk about it. It is too much. So that is where probably uh, dance movement therapy or art therapy and other modalities can also be useful in order to bring them into an understanding without even saying it out aloud. Because if you keep on, I mean, the moment there is a psychologist, everyone knows now he is going to talk about depression, anxiety, stress, nothing else. So that is where the challenge is. So many times I do not use these terms also, and that is when it becomes easy for them to acknowledge, kuch gadbad hai, but it is not something that needs to be labeled.
Yeah, thank you, Kumudha. Then Anurima, she's texted on the chat box. She says, in the context of suicide prevention for a larger population, especially children, rural parts of the country, and people who may not be able to afford mental health, as a country or a society, how do we help them reach the resources and awareness to access mental health professionals to this 1.4 billion citizens?
Very practical question and very challenging question.
Yeah.
In fact, in 2018 to 19, I was doing a fellowship on governance of mental health. And that is where I was actually exploring whether the mental health helplines are really working, right? Specifically, the suicide prevention helplines. There are so many suicide prevention helplines, but they operate from 10 to 5. They are not available around the clock. And unfortunately, many people who are susceptible to suicidal ideation end up committing suicide in the midnight after 2 a.m. That is when there is no help available. Even if they have the living instinct at the nth moment, they do not have anybody whom they can reach out to. Of course, general public, including their family members, will be sleeping and helplines will not be available. And many times what I have also observed is many helplines will expect you to write an email about what is happening to you, and then they will respond back. I don't know when. So suicide is like a very momentary thing and it is a major challenge. So, I mean, recently NIMHANS has come out with the 24/7 helpline and they have been able to help quite a good number of people. And maybe we will have to use some technological innovation into this aspect of crisis management at that point of time, because not we cannot expect all the psychologists to stay awake throughout the night, because it may not be practically a solution for anybody for that matter. So maybe we will have to use technology to reach so many people and also address this burden. Again, I'm not very clear in my answer because it's still a question mark, because there are so many people who are talking about AI, but in the recent past, you might have come across this news where AI tool actually said, a student, you go and die. Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's a scenario you cannot rely completely on AI tool to say that, okay, this will solve this problem. So, yeah, so that is where I'm also still not very clear what can be done to reach this mass in the
Yes. And Nagraj has asked, can you please recommend or suggest a reference material or a book for corporate HRs who have to deal with emotional well-being of employees? Probably we can refer your book.
Yeah, I mean, I can refer my book, but then how far they will read and understand is a bigger question. I don't know whether that will happen in the first place. And secondly, I think I mean, mental health is more experienced or experiential than something that we can read and understand. Again, this is another problem that I'm seeing among many people. Whenever we have a problem, we go to a self-help book and think that the book, whatever the method that is suggested in the book, will help in solving our problem. That is not the case. In fact, one very a police officer actually had reached out to me saying, can you tell me what are the 5 good things that you see in me? It was just 1 or 2 sessions that I had with him. And the moment I got this question, I asked him, where did you get these questions from? Then he said I was reading the self-help book, and it recommended me to ask 10 people in my network to ask what are the 5 good things and 5 bad things that they see in me. I immediately told him that, see, as a psychologist, I may see aggression in you as a bad thing, but for you in your profession, aggression may be required sometimes to deal with the situation.
Correct.
Right? So then my lens of looking at you itself is wrong. And if you start thinking, oh, my aggression has to be reduced and I will work on that, and if you become a very cool person like a therapist, then you may not be handling the situation in the right way. So every person, every position or every situation will require different kinds of attributes, traits. So that is where books will not be really helpful in terms of understanding the problems. I think Kirana is sharing resource
A
material.
book, yeah. She's shared a
Maybe
book,
we can
White Swan Farm,
refer their studies.
with the
I
case
have
studies.
gone through this website. You can refer the case studies over there. Maybe that can be helpful for people.
Yeah, Prasad. You have to unmute yourself, Prasad.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I normally hate to start a conversation with mute, unmute, but sorry for that. Okay.
No problem.
Thanks a lot, Akshara. Thanks a lot, brother, for bringing a lovely session on Saturday. Like I mentioned in the chat, breathtaking, fresh of breath air from a presentation perspective. I mean, I can keep talking about how good the session is. Thanks for coming in, Akshara. And just to add a point that my fellow HR friends are talking, most of the times we forget the fact that as an employee, I'm still seeing you as a person who is going to judge me. I don't know how you are going to use the information that I'm going to give you would be utilized at any point in time while I'm in the organization. And hence, it is better for me to keep quiet than raising hand, not raising hand, answering your surveys. You say it is fully confidential, tokenized, but I don't know what kind of lever you have in the back end. And I think it is HR's responsibility to clear that doubt in the minds of employees in the org, which is not going to happen, trust me. Given the fact that my foundation as an employee is coming from a different direction, all the activities that even if you invite people like Akshara, the confidence that employee would have in Akshara, seeing him as a non-judgmental person, versus you going and then talking to them is entirely a different game. And hence, do not lose your heart if employees are not responding to you. But only thing we can do is facilitating, bringing in the great people like Akshara to the organization, introducing them. And then let us ride on the back of their expertise and then create the place that you want to create. I just wanted to add that point to our.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Prasad. It's lovely. I guess we are short of time as well. If there is one more question we can take, and then we can wind up for the day. Yes, Preeti.
I had a quick question of, I've posted it also in here that when I was doing a workshop for a company in UAE, now I realized later on that their videos were off because they were it was their working day and it was mandated. So they were attending, and it felt such a useless session because what's the benefit? I mean, I did it, but they didn't get anything. So I suggested next time do it in conference room. I can see them, blah, blah, blah. But is there any other way to get this thing going? Because when you're doing outside Mumbai, like I'm in Mumbai, but when I'm doing outside Mumbai, for all you know, it might be online. So have you come across any best practices or solution to such a problem?
No, not really. Because whenever you are in a virtual session, even though it is mandated, even though HR will clearly mention that it has to be a all video on session, still people will end up putting their videos off. And if you start focusing on that, then you will miss out on your deliverables. And at the same time, sometimes what also happens is what I also recognize is, even though their videos are off, they're very focused in listening to what we are saying. So again, I leave it to them because I am doing my duty, and I ensure to say that please put on your video so that you can get the most of it. But then still they will have their own resistances. So again, it's a kind of helpless situation. In fact, at least here I can see some names that I in the blogs. Some of the organizations make us talk in a webinar mode of these apps, Zoom or whatever the Microsoft team, where we do not know how many people are attending and who are they, etc., etc. I mean, I will be there in the room, and 2, 3 other organizers or management people will be there, and I just need to speak. Now I have made peace with this fact that I am making clear in my mind that it is going to reach maximum people and it is going to create good results for them, and I just speak because beyond that we cannot do, especially when we are taking a virtual session. So since you have asked that question, can I request all of you to put on a video at least now? And
Seriously,
and
wall otherwise.
yes, yes, at least we can see each other's face, if not meet in person. We have another maybe 5 minutes of time. Yeah, I mean, see, there are people who are also attending the session while they are
traveling and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's a good thing about the virtual session. They can utilize their time while
Yes.
they have to be there somewhere else. But yeah, thanks to everyone who has joined the session.
Yeah.
And who has opened or put on their videos. Thank you so much. It's nice
We
to
have
see
good
all
time to
the
take a
faces.
picture, Prada, for your record with so many videos.
Yeah, this is getting recorded completely.
Okay.
And it'll be put on the YouTube as well. Somebody had asked me on the chat. So yeah, so I think we will wind up the session. A very heartfelt thanks to everyone who's attended the session on the mental health. Your presence and participation has made this event truly meaningful. And special appreciation to Akshara. I don't need to say, everybody has said that, for his incredible efforts in conducting the session so precisely, crisply, and effectively. His insights and his guidance has left us with lasting impact, reminding us of the importance of mental well-being. So I think as we move forward, let's prioritize our mental health just as we do for our physical health. Time to pause, reflect, and take care of yourself and your loved ones. And remember, it is okay to seek for help and lean on another when required. Do take care of yourself and stay mindful.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for attending.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Subha, and
Wonderful session
that's the
indeed.
team for doing this. And thank you everyone for taking out time and joining the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.